Hi guys, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another video. So we're going to be going over the Perk Zero challenge. So if we head on over to the Prestige challenges and then just take a trip down real quick towards Survivalist, you can see here that we have Perk Zero. So a pretty cool calling card. It's an interesting one for sure. And the challenge is basically just to reach round 25 without using any perks whatsoever. So really simple in terms of the actual, what you need to do. But the execution of it can be a little bit complicated. So I'm going to go over it in this video. In the video, you are going to see me using a AMR. This gun in particular is very, very fun to use. This is the build I'll be running for it. Again, I think this gun is incredibly strong in this game at the moment, so I'd super recommend it. And you're going to see how it just tears through some Abominations and some of the zombies as well. Aside from that, I was running Tesla Storm. I would actually just recommend running Aether Shroud if you can. It's a lot better to run. And then for these, I'll just take a combat axe and a decoy. So pretty simple. That's the class I'd recommend, and that's the challenge breakdown. Let's hop into the footage now. So we are going to be looking at kind of two challenges in one with this video by accident, but my main focus will be on the Perk Zero calling card. This is a prestige challenge, and it focuses on getting to round 25 without a single perk. Honestly, it's a really simple calling card to grab. It doesn't take too much time. I think it took me about 30 minutes or so to grab everything I needed for it. It sounds kind of complicated on the surface, and it can be a little bit risky to run the challenge, but again, with the steps I'm going to show you, I would say it's actually relatively simple to do. So you can see I'm running the new sniper rifle. I've been absolutely gushing over this gun for the last few days now that it's been out. I think this is an amazing gun. It's just so good. But you can honestly really run anything, I feel like, with this. Obviously, maybe not the launchers, but obviously the GS45s and what have you will be really good. And yeah, I think, so the sniper rifle is really fun to use, and we're going to be doing a ton of damage, as you're going to see in the video. So one thing that I would recommend is just making sure to come in with, obviously keeping in mind you're not going to be picking up gobblegums. The GS45s might be a little bit too risky given the lack of PhD. Obviously the same for the LR 7.62 and any wonder weapons like the ray gun, obviously doing the splash damage to you as well. So again, I feel like the Barrett is really good. I feel like, if you're going to run something like an SMG, like a PP919, maybe one of the assault rifles, you could honestly run pretty much anything for this. And what we're going to be doing is hovering around a lot of the usual spots, but honestly a lot of it is just about keeping mobile and just trying to stop yourself from getting caught out and like kind of boxed into corners and what have you. So the first goal that I'm going to go for here is Pack-a-Punch tier 1 on my gun, and then I'm going to save up my scrap for Pack-a-Punch or tier 2 like rarity blue tier. Because obviously we're playing on standard, non-directed. It means we can do the Mangler Head Easter egg to get the blue wrench for free. So yeah, we're going to build up some points here and try and get to first tier Pack-a-Punch. Alright, so we have enough scrap before doing the first tier Pack-a-Punch to obviously grab a green tier. So yeah, we're good here. We're now going to be doing a ton more damage to everything, kind of one-shotting everything to the head. And yeah, again, we're going to just keep progressing ourselves towards first tier Pack-a-Punch. And when we get that Pack-a-Punch, I'm actually going to start making some progress towards another challenge, kind of by accident. And you guys will see what I mean by this. So yeah, we're gonna take a quick look. Okay, so we managed to get to tier 1 Pack-a-Punch. So what we're going to be doing is staying in the kind of church area here. We're going to be staying in the Pack-a-Punch room for a few rounds in a row without leaving. I think it was, I can't even remember how many it was, but with Pack-a-Punch tier 1, we're going to be able to basically smash everything that we need to smash. I say we've got Pack-a-Punch tier 1. We're about to get Pack-a-Punch tier 1, I should say. So here we go. I'm coming up here, and I'm going to kind of hover around the Pack-a-Punch machine, and when I get to about 7,000 points, I'm going to pop it. But we've kind of already begun our steps towards the other calling card. So here we go. Here's first tier Pack-a-Punch, and yeah, now we're going to be able to just basically crack out as many of these rounds as we can, as this gun is going to be absolutely monstrous in this room. Okay, so we're going to keep progressing, and as we do, we are going to be making some more progress towards the 2 cooling cards. Obviously, again, if we stay in this room for a few rounds, we're going to eventually get that cooling card. And then once we kind of progress even further, because we're not going to have any perks, we'll be getting the Perk Zero cooling card. So I'd recommend just staying in here for the most part. It's really simple if you can get here early. One of the big tips about, you know, the cooling card is that I think as long as you can get to this section quick enough in the game, you won't have any trouble whatsoever surviving and getting through the rounds. Because all the zombies are going to be really slow. You know, they're not going to be able to do any damage. They're not going to be able to really catch up to you very quickly. So you have a lot of opportunity just to kind of maneuver and get around and not really worry too much about, you know, taking damage or taking a hit and going down. So it's pretty effective. And again, just, yeah, keep yourself mobile. And then you also want to break these crystals for the extra scrap. Obviously, like I said, I'm saving my scrap up for purple tier quality. So that's what you're going to see me doing here, is just kind of going around and scavenging. And again, we're going to just keep surviving. And all while we're doing this, we are also trying to progress the Pack-a-Punch tier 2. So there's the Bell Tolls, which is in Liberty Falls. Survive 5 rounds, consecutive rounds within this section here. So we already got that cooling card. And then now that we've got that, we can start focusing back on Perk Zero again. Okay, and like I said, we're going to get the Pack-a-Punch tier 2, as you saw there, and it's a really easy experience, I'd say. Obviously, going through the grind of being in this room and not really having anything that can catch up to us right now before the Manglers and the Abomination spawns, we are pretty much completely fine to go and just grind this room out completely. What I would recommend is once you do kind of finish the hunker down challenge, and I'm going to kill this Mangler here, I'd recommend just trying to get out of this room quickly, because at this stage of the game, I would say that it does begin to pick up in difficulty a little bit, to a point where being in this room might be a bit of a risk, especially as we kind of approach that, you know, high 20s or like mid 20s, and even some of the low 20s as well, where if you get an Abomination in there, it could probably kill us incredibly quickly. Remember, we're not running Jug or anything like that, so what we're going to have to rely on for this run is armor plating. Armor plating is one of the most important bits of the run, and you're going to see there I've just grenaded the Mangler head as well, so we are moving towards this. So what we're going to be doing is now building towards trying to get things like the armor plating, and also just trying to build up towards purple tier for the gun, and obviously we're just going to wait for everything to fall down here, and we're going to grab the blue wrench. Okay, so we're going to grab the blue wrench in a moment here. There we go. So we've got it. And then we're also going to just claim any extra scrap or any extra points that we can. And we get really lucky here. We get a bug round, which is really good for obviously ammo, but also points and scrap as well. We have a suppressor on the gun, so we're going to be getting even more scrap as well in the meantime. So everything we're going to do here is going to be really effective. I do want to give a quick tip. Really be careful on these bug rounds. They can kill you incredibly quick. They're very fast. They have a great range, so they're able to basically knock you super quickly. You're going to see I almost go down a couple times during the bug rounds, and mainly only the bug rounds as well. So yeah, be extra careful on the bug rounds. Don't get caught out if you can help it. And yeah, just keep yourself focused up on surviving as much as possible. But you can see we got past the bug round now, and yeah, now it's just on, like I said, to grabbing purple tier and just going from there. Okay, so you can see that we have enough scrap now, 2,600, and we're going to just come up to the armory and grab purple tier. The next step for me at this point really is just to farm as many zombies as possible so I can pick up either tier 3 Pack-a-Punch or tier 2/tier 3 armor. You want to try and take as little risks as possible during this particular run, because it's very easy to go down. In this run, I actually do end up going down. To be fair, a lot of it was just me kind of just forgetting that I don't have perks because I'm just so not used to it. And I go down very quickly by kind of accident. But again, it was only one down and we bring back the run anyway. And like I said, this challenge, it's super simple and it is really easy to do. A lot of it is just, again, not taking risks, don't put yourself in bad positions, and just make sure you're coming in with a good build. You know, my build might not be super optimized, it's kind of just what I like running. So that's another factor in this as well. And you can see we're going to come and grab at tier 2 armor here. There we go. And yeah, so I would just focus on that. And like I said, you know, right now the grind for us is either Pack-a-Punch tier 3 or tier 3 armor. But by the end of the game, we will be able to have both. And our gun is going to be doing some serious damage to the Abominations. So speaking of Abominations, I'm going to skip to the round real quick where we end up killing him. Okay, so the Abomination is in the map now, and we just need to try and keep our distance from it so that it doesn't hit us with its beam attack, and also that we don't trigger a charge. Obviously, we're using a sniper, so range here is going to be our friend, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and get Yeah, like I said, as far away, as good of a range as possible. I'm then going to throw a decoy, like you just saw there, and I'm just going to start trying to take shots at the Abomination's head. Now, for me, this was a little bit risky. You can see the zombies on the left here are charging me. And then what I'm going to do is, I kind of get kind of lucky here. I'm going to just collat the Abomination through a ton of zombies like that, and it's just going to go down. So, really easy kill. Again, this sniper is an absolute elite killer. You know, Abominations don't stand a chance. Manglers are nothing. The only thing is so far that I've struggled against is Amalgamations with this gun. But aside from that, yeah, this gun absolutely tears. So that was the Abomination on round 15. Again, no perks, no dead shot, no nothing like that. So we haven't got some crazy boost to damage. And like I said, right now we're going to just focus on trying to get ourselves to tier 3 armor or tier 3 Pack-a-Punch. I believe I do armor first, but I'm not entirely sure. But like I said, we're just trying to focus on that as best we can. Okay, so we're actually coming up to the section where I go down. And I want to just showcase like why this happens and how you guys can avoid going down like I did. So I hate coming to these stairs, and to be real, I don't really know why I did it. And I realized here that I was probably dead. I forgot that I didn't have Aether Shroud, and I popped my ult thinking, oh, I'm good, like I've got my Aether Shroud. Yeah, no, I don't. We barely like get out of that situation alive. Luckily, because we're not taking any perks, going down in this is not actually much of a big deal as long as we have a self-res, which we can take because it's not a perk. You know, it's an item that we can get. It's you know, a self-revive kit or whatever. So we're kind of good there. Obviously, it was a bit of a goof from me, but you can just avoid it by playing in these open spaces. Play safe. You know, I've had this advice for a ton of time now. Kind of imagine you're playing something like social distancing. It really does help you manage your, you know, your distance. It keeps you safe. It affects your, you know, decision making and everything. So just try and imagine that you're playing social distancing where you can't get hit, and play in these really open, safe areas to keep yourself alive for most of the game. Okay, and then we're going to come and grab Pack-a-Punch tier 3. So at this point, we are going to be doing tons of damage. There's another Abomination kill. It was basically like a 1 or 2 shot to that head and it was gone. And now really it's this, I would say, the grind to try and get legendary tier, but also to try and get Pack-a-Punch tier, or trying to get tier 3 armor even. So I would recommend here for you guys, obviously just try and focus on those Pack-a-Punch levels. Try and focus on upgrading your gun's rarity as much as possible. As long as you have a 2-plate, you should be okay. Just be super careful in these positions where you can nearly go down, and just try and keep yourself in open spaces where you can maneuver around everything. And at this point, we're only 6 rounds away from completing the challenge and being completely done with it. Okay, so hopping into round 23 here, we are going to be just clearing a bunch of zombie waves and also, I believe, an Abomination. Yep, an Abomination which has just spawned in on round 23. So a pretty decently, you know, I'd say difficult elite to fight on round 23 without perks. But I think this just goes to show sort of the strength of the, you know, the gun that we're using. You don't really need perks as much as you might think. It is actually obviously risky because no jug, but it's, again, really, really fun to do. I couldn't recommend this challenge more. If you are a relatively high level, obviously to be able to unlock this challenge, you kind of need to be a high prestige. But if you're, you know, looking to do this challenge and you're trying to get it, I would super recommend it. It's very, very fun. It's kind of like a classic old school challenge. I remember I used to do this kind of stuff back in sort of like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. It was very, very fun. Like no perk challenges and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so I would just say try and keep your distance like I've been mentioning, and focus on your gun's damage more so than anything, because that's what really carried me through this. If you have a gun build that has high mobility, you might find yourself really in a good position for this particular challenge, because you can get out of the way of a lot of trouble. And don't be afraid to use gobble guns if you need to, but as I kind of have mentioned in previous videos, when I do these, I try to recommend it just going in kind of raw without anything that will help you, you know, in terms of gobbles and whatnot, as it's, you know, not everyone has the kind of gobble gums you might need. Here, you're going to actually see that I'm going to throw a decoy. At this point, I kind of want to just clear everything. It's round 24, so we're about to be done. And there you go. And I'm going to throw an impact grenade as well, just try and keep everything down. And now I can pick up some of that salvage. And you can also see that we're super close to that legendary tier. And we're just going to kill those manglers right there. And at this point, the run is pretty much finished. There's not really any way I can go down here unless I make a really, really bad mistake. And we're just going to kind of grind up all the points. And now we have 5k to get legendary If I really wanted to go and do that before the round ended, I probably could. But honestly, it's completely fine. If I didn't spend 1,000 to get a self-revive, I probably would have had legendary even before this round. So it kind of goes to show, like, if you manage your health and your space correctly and don't go down, you can pretty much finish everything off quickly. So round 25 pops here, and things are looking spooky. So same sort of bug again that we've had before, weirdly. I have to wait a moment before the calling card actually triggers. It doesn't show up, and I'm thinking at this moment that it might be bugged and that I might end up needing to restart the run, but luckily Perk Zero then pops a little bit into it, and there we go. So Perk is completely finished. You know, the Perk challenge is completely finished. We are good to exfil essentially on the next round if we can, and take away all of that XP. So yeah, that was the challenge in a nutshell. Again, it's a lot about managing your space and managing your weapons damage and trying to kind of rely on doing quite a good bit. If you guys have seen the last challenge video for Hunker Down, where we do the spawn challenge, you can see that I basically ran that entire challenge just with a default compact, and it had no weapon rarity upgrades or anything like that. So we are completely good for that. So yeah, the guns are really good, and again, if you guys need the loadout, just watch the beginning of the video again. I would hyper recommend just anything to do with this kind of crazy damage. Like, again, the AMR is doing some really, really nuts stuff here. So if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you subscribe, like, do all that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy, guys.